What if the biggest threat to your health isn't a diagnosis? What if the biggest threat to your health is assuming the consensus is always correct? I don't really side with the right or the left when it comes to politics, but sometimes when we question science, people will come up with slogans that that they think sound smart and say things like science is real. So when people question the science, they automatically think that people that question science are ignorant people who just want to believe what they want to believe. One of the definitions of science, according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, is this: something that may be studied or learned like systematized knowledge. Why would anyone be against studying or learning? Why is it even smart to say something like science is real to gaslight someone who questions what they've been told? Science in and of itself is not the problem. The problem is the human biases and agenda behind some of the science. See, a scientist runs an experiment, and if we are wise, we are to ask questions like who ran the experiment? How many people were in the experiment? Who funded the experiment? Why did the experiment take place in the first place? What do the scientists gain from running this experiment? Follow the money trail. Is there a money trail? I don't want to say that all people who are trying to earn money are bad or have bad intentions, but these are probably good questions to ask ourselves, right? Let's say that a scientist ran a quote perfect study. Spoiler alert, a perfect study does not exist. But let's say a scientist ran a perfect study. The interpretation of that study depends upon the scientist's worldview. Let me give you an example. This information comes from the Journal of Science, I guess it's called. The title is The Descent of Man, 150 Years On. The author is a professor at Princeton University. This article is about Charles Darwin. According to this article, students are taught Darwin as the father of evolutionary theory, a genius scientist. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't think he's a genius. But let's look at his worldview. The article says that Darwin portrayed indigenous peoples of the Americas and Australia as less than Europeans in capacity and behavior. Peoples of the African continent were consistently referred to as cognitively depauperate, less capable, and of a lower rank than other races. In Descent, Darwin identified women as less capable than white men, often akin to the lower races. Charles Darwin was racist and sexist. He also believed that he saw humans as part of the natural world, animals that evolved from ancestral primates according to processes and patterns similar for all life. This is one of the scientists that is well respected in the scientific community. Throughout history, we have been brainwashed to believe certain things. We were told that margarine is good for us. The people in other generations were told that smoking cigarettes is, I think they were told that it was good for you. I think they actually used medical doctors to tell people that smoking cigarettes was good for them. We were told that all fats are bad. We were told that Kellogg's cereal is good for us. If you're listening to this podcast, I have a feeling that you don't believe all the things that you hear. For instance, before I had my first baby, a very good friend of mine told me to watch The Business of Being Born. And because of that documentary, I basically gave birth to all three of my kids naturally. We've been brainwashed to believe that the only safe way of giving birth is on our backs in a hospital bed. For a while, some people were brainwashed to believe that formula was better for babies than mother's milk. I could come up with a lot more examples for you of how we've been brainwashed in the area of health, but I want to give you other examples in our culture. Some of us have been brainwashed to believe that delaying marriage and kids is the wise and sophisticated choice. We've been brainwashed to believe that divorce is self-care when you're unhappy. We've been brainwashed to believe that porn is harmless, that sex outside of marriage is necessary for self-discovery. We've been brainwashed to believe that hookup culture is empowering for women that cannot be farther from the truth. We've been brainwashed to believe that sexual identity is the core of human identity. We've been brainwashed to believe that kids and the elderly are a burden. The culture tries to brainwash us with a bunch of lies. And unfortunately, I believe that we've also been brainwashed by the healthcare industry, by the insurance industries, the healthcare insurance industries, the food industry, the pharma industry. The brainwashing goes so deep that maybe if I told you what I see as brainwashing, you might think I'm crazy. So I don't feel like I need to give you more examples, but I just want you to know that it exists. The brainwashing exists. And the whole reason why I started this podcast and wrote my book, Discover God's Health Wisdom, is because I feel like this is a huge blind spot for the church. Some people in the Christian community, they see the medical system as all good with no conflicts of interest. They think that the science is sound. They think that all the scientists are sound. In my mind, this is a perfect place for the enemy to brainwash us because he can do a lot of damage if he can make us put harmful things into our bodies and or make us do harmful things to our bodies, right? My goal is not to get you to throw out the whole system. My goal is to get you to question the system enough so that you don't get hurt by it. At the end of the day, my mission is to encourage you to seek God's wisdom first for your health and life so that you can experience true, lasting healing, so that you can make a greater eternal impact in your home and in your community. If today's episode made you think, go grab my free training, 8 Myths That Are Keeping You Sick right now at herholistichealing.com/free. Thanks for listening today. If you like what you heard, would you take a minute to leave the show a review? I would love to connect with you at herholistichealing.substack.com. This content is for informational purposes only and is not meant to be medical advice.